Larry.
Well, hello, everybody. This is Larry from the Blue Collar Nation podcast, and I'm here with my intrepid, now authentic, creative business partner, Mr. Eric Sprague, the Tech Whisperer. How are you today, Eric?
I'm great. How are you? You yet again called me intrepid for the 437th time on the show.
And you're very good at pointing that out, which I totally appreciate. You know, that's what we have business partners and friends and colleagues for.
I'm going to make you a list of adjectives. Just send it to you.
Yeah, you should do that. Keep me organized. It'll be all good. We have a wonderful podcast today. As always, we're very excited. We have some cool people that are going to entertain our guests, our listeners, I should say. And I want to point out first that the podcast is presented by Morning Tech Meeting, is a proud sponsor. And Morning Tech Meeting is a system to train your technicians in the soft skills so your clients are happy with not just what's done in your home, but the interaction with your clients and your technicians. The value that they bring to the home isn't what they do technically, it's what they do personally for the clients as well. And we found that in our business, that's very important. And the Tech Whisperer trained our technicians to be the best communicators ever. And if you have great communicators, technicians that are communicators, your business is going to thrive, as ours did. So go to morningtechmeeting.com and check us out. That'd be great. So moving on to our podcast, we have a wonderful, wonderful guest here from Service Titan. We're very excited. We have Jackie Aubel. She is the host of Toolbox for the Trades. How are you today, Jackie?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, Larry. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yes, we're very happy to have you. And we also have your colleague, Chris Hunter, who's also a Service Titan. And he's the Director of Community Relations. And we're excited to have both of you today.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Anytime I get to join Jackie on a podcast, I get really excited because Jackie herself has done podcasts, and I tell her all the time, like, you could operate one of the largest contracting businesses out there, Jackie. You have amassed that knowledge from interviewing others. So
he does do a great job. Yes. If anybody hasn't listened to Toolbox for the Trades, look it up on your iTunes or anywhere else, just Google it, and she is very good at conducting an interview. So hopefully we can reciprocate to you today, Jackie.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you for the compliments, gentlemen. Keep them coming during this interview. That would be fantastic. I have to though give credit to my colleague, Chris Hunter, as well. Chris, prior to joining as Director of Customer Relations at Service Titan, was a customer of Service Titans for the longest time, was one of our biggest advocates. And I mean, heck, he's like been one of the best contractors ever. All the stuff I partner with him on, all of the webinars we do, all the podcasts we do, people just love him. So Chris, thank you for joining me today, because yes, I have knowledge about the trades, but it is nowhere near as much knowledge as you have, because you've actually done it. I'm just like studying the theory. I'm like the professor and you're like the actual person who's doing it, you know?
There you go. We're ready.
She's doing a great job, isn't she, Eric?
Want me to just
Jackie, you want to host?
No, keep going. You're doing a great job.
I mean, you can ask us all questions. It's all good.
She's doing a much better job than you do sometimes, Mr. Tech Whisperer.
I know. Well, that's what I was thinking, because we've already been interviewed by Jackie, and I was coming on today going, I'm not sure why I'm even here.
Well, don't worry. I'm an open book. I'll answer any question you got, and I'm really good at banter. That's what I got my thank the Upright Citizens Brigade Comedy Theater for that. I'm very good at improvisation.
Oh, right. Wonderful. This will be great then.
Well, this is the podcast for that. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on. And we're really excited about this because, there's a lot of people out there using Service Titan. There's a lot of people that we talk to that they think Service Titan's some grand mystery to them. Like, it's weird. They're just like, I think it's because it's so big and it has so many functions. They just get a little overwhelmed with the idea of it. And I thought, we'd just kind of dispel some of the myths out there and maybe dig in a little bit about what it can do and what it can't and what industries. So why don't you guys just, give us an overview of Service Titan, kind of when it started, what industries, how people are using it, and then we'll kind of dig into maybe features and functions and all that cool stuff.
Sure. So Service Titan isn't so much a software as it is a lifestyle. at least it's been for me, because I've been with the company for about 4 years, and I've seen a tremendous amount of growth and innovation by my colleagues in that time. It's quite frankly been overwhelming. Like, I feel like it hasn't been 4 years, but it's been more like 10. It's one of the, I have a history, for anyone listening, in the tech startup industry, and I have never worked for a company that's more devoted to its customers or more freaking just eyes on the prize, focused on success. The company was founded by Ara Medician and Vahe Kazoyan, who are Armenian immigrants living in Glendale, California. Typical American dream story. Ara and Vahe were sent to the best schools. Their parents worked their butts off to get them there. And they both, I believe, majored in some form of computer science, business. You know, they were going to go work for some of the big tech companies. And as the story goes, Ara and Vahe met at a ski trip for Armenian college students. And while they were there, they discovered that both of their fathers were in the trades. They were blue collar men who did residential service and repair. I think one of them did more commercial stuff, but they got to talking about, you know, our dads gave us so much. Wouldn't it be great if we used all this knowledge that we obtained here at school to create a software for them so they can actually run their businesses easier? And what was supposed to be a 2-month summer project for them has now turned into a multi-billion-dollar business with over 1,000 employees, with offices across the world now, because we have an office in Armenia, Atlanta, and Los Angeles. And it's essentially an all-in-one operating system for the trades. So the way that I describe it to folks who don't know ServiceTitan is that it touches every aspect of the service business, right? From taking in calls, to dispatching your texts, to presenting options to your customers, to collecting payment, to getting reporting as to like what is working at your business, what's not. It really, it is all encompassing, and it is a huge, sophisticated piece of software, but that does not mean in any way, shape, or form that it is inaccessible to shops of varying sizes. I think that was like a big thing that we ran into early on, which is like, oh, ServiceTitan's only for the big guys. We're not. We have shops that use our software with 3 to 5 techs that do a great job.
I think that's still the overarching thought, though. Like, that's what I hear from guys. Like, yeah, I'd use ServiceTitan, but we're not big enough.
I mean,
so I don't necessarily agree with that. But
I don't necessarily agree with that either. And Chris, maybe you can take it from here. So obviously we have competitors out in the space, right? Whenever I interview customers or talk to owners that use ServiceTitan and have done so very successfully, oh my God, they love doing this. They love comparing it to designer cars. They're like, ServiceTitan's like a Ferrari, you know what I mean? Like, you got to know how everything works, opposed to, your standard Ford Focus. And I mean, I would encourage any contractor listening to this, you know your business better than anyone else. You know that the needs that you have. If you're looking for a software that is just going to dispatch technicians, great. There are softwares out there that can do that for you. But what ServiceTitan can do is take your business to the next level. And especially if you put the time and dedication into accessing all of our features. So I'll pause there because I can talk to a wall just like my mother, and I will let Chris kind of take it from his perspective, because he's got the contracting experience.
Yeah. So one thing that I do love about ServiceTitan is that their number one goal is make customers successful. So one of the first things I thought whenever I came here, I'm like, what's up? Why do we have to have so many technicians before we'll let them use this thing? And it truly goes back to that number one goal. They know that if you don't have a person dedicated in the office to help implement this, to use this, that frankly, the odds of you being set up for success are maybe not the greatest. So that's why there is some limitations. Now, here's what I have seen happen since I've been here as well, is ServiceTitan has done a phenomenal job with tools, like to help these companies grow to where they can get to a point where then they could take on this thing and be able to run with it. But, if you've got at least one person in the office and a couple trucks out on the road minimum, there's nothing saying you're not ready for this. You're just going to have to be committed to it to really utilize it as the tool that it really is.
It's probably the best time for a company to use it when they're smaller so they can implement it in their business. It would be harder if you have, 15, 20 techs to implement it with everybody. If you had 2 or 3 and you're planning on growing, that's probably the best time.
Yeah, I mean, so if you think about, whenever I entered into the HVAC business, I'd never worked for another organization, a retail contractor before, so I didn't know any bad habits. So the only way that I knew to operate was just by learning from the best. So to your point, if while you are still young in your business maturity, you adopt Service Titan, and this is the way you learn. You learn from what the fastest growing companies are doing, and just simply repeat. Then yeah, it would be a fast track to success.
Yeah, I also
you're
want
going to
to.
grow faster because
Yeah.
you're using the software basically sets you up for best practices.
That's exactly what it does. That's exactly what it does. So we've even got something inside it now called Titan Advisor. Well, Titan Advisor asks what your company goals are. And once it learns what your goals are, it is smart. It goes out there and shows you what the best practices are that you need to be implementing these disciplines in your business. And it gives you a score. So that way the score is always growing the more that your team is doing the things they need to be doing on a routine basis, or you're utilizing features that were helping the companies grow. So it is all designed around the best practice like that.
It's pretty cool. It gives you a score. Then that's something you can keep track of. You communicate with your team, whether you're on track or not. Keeps everybody on the same page. That's great.
Yeah, and it's crazy even how competitive the customers are. So we post that leaderboard inside our private group that we have, and you talk about getting fired up. Contractors get fired up over a score. There's not even really a big prize or anything. They just want the bragging rights of being on the top 20 leaderboard. So I get a lot of text messages and things from people that are trying to get there, and then once they get there, they do celebrate with their team.
Well, you're gamifying it.
That's it.
Everybody likes a good game.
Yeah.
Jackie,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was going to call out the leaderboard. I mean, like one thing that has also blown my mind just working at Service Titan is I have truly, truly, truly never worked for a software whose customers were more engaged and invested in what was happening in the software. Like, and I'm coming at this not even from a trades perspective, but from just someone who's worked in tech her whole life, business to business software. Like I've worked for companies that have said like our software is essential for you to run your business, and it's a nice to have, you know. But man, like I have never met a group of customers so passionate about what a software is doing than the Service Titan customer base. But then also customers who help one another. Like they're so quick to support one another and to help with like, hey, oh, this is the workflow that I use for my follow-ups, or you know, this is how I built my price book, and they kind of go from there. And I don't know, it's really cool to see that kind of engagement and that kind of community support. I mean, I say it on my podcast all the time. I'm just blown away by how supportive the trades community is as a whole. Like I haven't seen that anywhere else.
Well, and Jackie, to even the founders' point on this, I mean, they were really intentional about fostering that. So me as a customer, and Eric, Larry, whenever I invested in Service Titan, the co-founders, Ara was the salesperson, right? So he's the one that closed the deal with me. And then Vahe was like the tech support, you know, all this type of stuff. But they were intentional. We were a small company back then, and they would ask our opinion and genuinely wanted our feedback. And then more importantly, they would take action on it and then show us the results of it. So I felt a vested interest, you know, as a customer. I'm like, man, yeah, they're my partner, you know, I mean, they're working to help me. So yeah, I want to give back to them. So Service Titan has done a really good job of intentionally bringing the customers in, making sure that they hear what they're wanting, what they're needing, and sometimes even looking ahead at what the customer doesn't even really understand what they need yet. Service Titan can already anticipate that, which is beautiful. It's genius. And they've been really good about that. So much so that, think about now, they've brung on a bunch of contractors like myself to just be the customer in the room internally at Service Titan. Not a lot of people do that, you know, and I look around I'm in meetings at Service Titan, and, you know, you've got people like Jackie and all these people with these pedigrees and, you know, Harvard MBA and all this stuff. And I'm like, Yeah,
You have a Harvard MBA. I'm impressed, Jack. I didn't even know that. In improv?
No. I do not have, I was going to clarify after Chris said that. I do not have a Harvard MBA.
I love it.
yeah,
My
but
father wished I did, but I do not.
yeah, but there is lots of people like that at Service Titan, and here I am. I dropped out freshman year of college and went to the School of Contracting Hard Knocks, but it's okay. They value the voice of the customer that much so that they'll be invested like that.
But you need a blend, Chris, of both of those things, because the Harvard MBA has never crawled in an attic trying to, install new ducting or whatever it might be, right? So you have to have both.
And that's what they've been really good about doing this whole time, just intentionally getting that perspective of the customer and always keeping that first, which has been why I respect them so much.
Yeah.
Well, let's dig deep then a little bit on some of the features that exist. I'll start with, I'm going to throw one out, Chris. I was always a huge job coster. I wanted to know what my margin was on every single job, because that way Larry and I could make those micro adjustments to who should take a job like that. Can we do it faster? Do we need to raise the price? I mean, so much information comes from job costing, yet so few people do it.
Yeah, well,
which is insane.
It's junk in, junk out, right? So the reason why so few people do it is because it takes a little effort on the front end to make sure that you've got your price book up to date and your materials and everything that's in there, and then also your employees set up right, where you got their labor rates and their burden rates and things like this. So the workflows have to be done correctly in order to see accurate data. So the reason why I think a lot of people get frustrated on job costing is because they didn't really take the time to set it up and to make sure the front end was done right. Now, the people that do that, my goodness, they've got very accurate data. They're able to use it. They're able to leverage it to grow. So I think it really goes back as a leader of a business. It doesn't matter if it's a software or if it's taking what we learned from the morning service call training and implementing it. It's making sure that somebody owns it. We're empowering our team. We're setting it up. And then once we go do it, we're going to inspect the results of what the action taken was. So it's really not just a software issue, but almost a leadership issue inside of companies, why people have bad data, bad reporting.
Oh, that's interesting. So why don't you walk us through then, Chris, a bunch of the features that you think most contractors could benefit from?
Well, as a contractor myself, so I'll speak to a few that kind of give me the freedom.
Some of your favorites that worked for you?
Yeah, the freedom is what I wanted because, I had a family and, my goodness, I spent so many years where I was missing key things that I didn't want to do that anymore. So, and as my business started to scale, I wanted a way, how do I keep in touch with this business and really get to see down in it, no matter where I'm at, whether I'm on vacation, I'm at the ball game, whatever it was. So I wanted to be connected. And the second part of that was the accountability part of it. I wanted to make sure that things were getting done. And this is where there's alert features inside of ServiceTitan. By far my favorite. So you could set up these triggered alerts on whatever activity that happens in your business, whether that is an initial call book, whether it was a $0 ticket just happened, whether it was a recall was caused, a lead was generated, you name it. There's all these different alerts that then you can assign to go to anybody in the company. So I got the alerts. I got every time there was an alert, I would get for any job that was booked. I just wanted to see the volume we were having throughout the day. So I would have those alerts. I would get alerts for things like tech generated leads. So that way I could tell, how well my technicians were turning over these leads. And then of course on closed sales, I wanted to see what we were what we were doing like that. So by far just the alerts and that capability there was probably one of my favorite things. The next really beautiful thing that I think is everybody wants systems and processes, right? Well, inside of Service Titan, you can actually make these systems and processes have to happen. For example, I'm pretty sure on your morning call, sometimes you talk about just the steps to a service call. What do we do? How do we get there? What do we do when we get there? What systematically do we check each time when we're there? What do we do after we've made the estimate? Well, we can set these up with smart forms. And through these smart forms, they're actually required to get, say, like a picture of a blower wheel. If that is a required thing I want done every call, I can make that happen. And you can't close that job out until that picture of that blower wheel has been done. And then if I wanted, I could have an alert to even make sure that I saw it was done, and I can take a look at it really fast from wherever I was, the condition of that inspection/blower wheel. So the smart forms was by far my favorite. And it wasn't just forms. It was just because what they did. It was implementing these systems and process.
So these systems can make it where you can inspect things remotely. You don't have to be on site supervising your guys, because, in the service business, you take a lot of chances sending your guys out to do the right thing. But if you have cues and alerts that when specific things happen, so you can inspect it immediately, that's huge. The value of that is gigantic.
Yeah, so if you study the best companies out there, like I'll give an example of Ken Goodrich, with Gettle, phenomenally successful, and he has made basically he's wrote a book right here. In fact, I keep it close to me.
I have it right here myself.
HVAC contractor, but it's all about these things. But he's got I think he calls it the picture perfect install. Well, after each install, they have to do like 7 pictures of the job, 7 or 8, whatever it was. So that could easily be done in Service Titan. Once these pictures are done, now the supervisor, then QA inspector, whatever, gets the alert, gets the check in before the technicians even get their tools loaded back up in the truck. So yes.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's okay. I wanted to just share one thing that Chris partnered with me on when he first joined Service Titan. So there's an ongoing joke within my department at Service Titan that once someone comes on the Toolbox for the Trades podcast, we immediately make a job offer to them. It's now my record right now is 5. Vanessa Gonzalez, Chris Hunter, Angie Snow, and I'm blanking on some others, but
Tom Howard did.
Tom Howard, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So just saying, how much we're hiring folks that are in the trades, right? But when Chris first came on, I was so excited to work with him. And I was like, Chris, I need a webinar for September. Like, is there anything that you can think of that we could really share with the community, both customers and prospects? And he was like, oh, well, we could talk about how the follow-up tab made me $1 million extra one year. And I'm like, excuse me? And he just went into this process he created that was, it's this very simple like follow-up tab in Service Titan, where you just get to see like what has to be followed up on, and you just have someone go through that and follow up with customers. And when Chris actually made that a system at his business, he was able to generate over $1 million of revenue. But without Service Titan, you're just kind of leaving that money on the table. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, so many service companies are leaving hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on the table every single year because there's no system for exactly what you just said.
Eric, so check this out too. Not only do they leave a lot on the table, if you ask any service tech, I mean, generally, obviously there's exceptions, but if you ask them, hey, how many service calls do you do per day or whatever? Well, a lot of times in their mind, they're like, oh man, I do 8 a day, or I can do 10 a day. Well, here we studied the data, and Service Titan produced a report to me that showed that the average company, that a technician does like 2.2 calls per day. And I was thinking, wow, this industry thinks we have a huge labor shortage, and we do, don't get me wrong. But we probably also have a major efficiency shortage just from people not getting their crap together, not being organized, and not making sure the customer was at home. And we have systems and technology that we leverage that can make it easy to get scheduled, easy to verify that it's done, and then quickly, efficiently route to the next one. All these things can leverage technology now and maybe solve some of these pain points of this labor shortage.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
No, and it also makes it just efficient, doesn't make it where the technicians are rushing from job to job.
Yeah.
Just the whole process of it is smooth and there's a rhythm to your day. And the rhythm of it is created by ServiceTitan, which is spectacular.
That's it.
So let me ask a question. I kind of already know the answer, but I think it brings up a feature. Larry and I, we had a carpet cleaning business and a water damage restoration business, and they're two very different things, right? Like in your world, that would be residential service technician versus installer, right? A water damage, they're not upselling, they're not really, they're just doing the work. So, what we always had to learn the hard way was, well, who should be a water damage tech and who should be a carpet cleaner based on the guys who can actually go out, service the client, go find other opportunities, make that ticket larger versus guys that just want to go in, do their work and go home. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, ServiceTitan has a scoreboard for the technicians as well, which I think is a key feature for somebody, especially doing service work. Could we talk about that a little bit? Because that's something that guys talk about, but they don't really know how it works. That's what I hear. They're like, I don't know how to score my guys. And I'm thinking you really should score your guys because you could make a lot more money that way.
Yeah, I think that the dashboard or the scoreboard, the technician scorecard is for anybody in this day and age. Everybody wants instant coaching or instant validation of, am I doing well? Am I not? So being able to get their stats, their numbers, just like a sports player would, one, helps understand where we're at, and two, what we need to do to get better, and three, it helps my dispatcher know which tech to send to which job to get the maximum output, right? Yeah. So I think I'm allowed to say this. I hope one of the biggest struggles for me, I'll be honest with you, I see so much cool stuff being built in ServiceTitan that I have to be careful I don't say something that I shouldn't, but
let the cat out of the bag.
So ServiceTitan has something that's called a smart dispatch that it's in beta right now. It'll be coming very soon as well. There's customers, in fact, some very large customers already doing it, but it automates all that. It takes, it ranks and see who is the best tech to send to this opportunity, and then it automatically makes it happen. Right. It's automated dispatching. So you talk about best tech to the best job. I know we were talking about scorecard, but that's essentially, what if we could take all that out of it and just make it automatic? That would be even better.
Right.
So, I just want to say real quick, Chris, to ease your worries, the fact that it's in beta, the cat's already out of the bag. And also the technician dashboard in general, yeah, it's like a delight. It's a game-changing report. Everyone that I speak to, they've done a lot of what you just said, Eric, which is they take a look at their dashboard. They're able to actually coach technicians on what it is they're actually struggling with, and you're able to point to data and actually say, like, well, look at this, like your average ticket has been dropping like week over week. What's going on with that? Or like, this is your close rate. You know what I mean? So you're able to, coach your technicians, I think, in a more efficient way and in a way that they're going to actually learn and feel more rewarded. You know what I mean? Because nothing's worse than doing just blanket coaching for everyone and someone's just sitting there in the back with their arms crossed being like, I know this already. I need help with this or whatever. Or they might not know what they need help with. The data actually allows you to point to that.
Yeah. I mean, I have another client that has ServiceTitan, and, they were coming home empty-handed doing residential service plumbing. And, I kept saying to the owner, like, maybe this guy should be an installer, cause I'm like, is he good technically? Oh, he's the best. Okay. How does he like to talk to the clients? Not so much. Okay. Well, you're putting him on the wrong seat on the bus. So instead of losing him because you keep asking him why he's not selling and he keeps making up excuses and it makes him miserable, put him in the right place so he can come in and feel good about what he does every day, or she.
Well, I totally agree. And I will also give one other thought or opinion on this. So if you utilize Service Titan and you create pre-built templates of options to present, and you've got the systems in place of what you inspect every time on a service call that are there that are going to keep the customer comfortable, save them money, or protect their health or their home. Now it's no longer about who's going to sell what. It's I'm just doing a great technical job. What I'm a technician. I did a thorough inspection, and now the tool can present to show the findings with the pictures and all the evidence of the dirty stuff, the broke stuff, whatever, and then present the options and let the customer choose. You can actually take a lot of that off the table. So I've got a friend of mine that his oldest technician is 23 years old, very successful company. Oldest technician is 23. They invest in like the training that you guys do in the morning, all about personality, soft skills, communication. Then they enable the tools and the processes to put them out there. And then if they ever run into trouble, of course, they've got a service manager, that could assist through the heavy technical things. But they're a very successful company, and they've whipped this labor shortage just by utilizing technology, investing in soft skill training, and they're doing it. I mean, I think that they're case in point that you can do those things and actually win today.
Yeah. Yeah. And they can take young folks who don't have bad habits or bad attitudes from being jaded out in the field for 15 or 20 years and use that technology and whatever training they're getting to create an amazing customer service experience and the work done right. And that's a win-win because you're grooming that team how you want it to be.
You nailed it. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's what Larry and I did. We got away from hiring the guy with 10 or 15 years experience because, you're bringing a lot of baggage, and we loved getting young people. I mean, Larry, I think our technicians probably averaged about 23 or 24. It's about where we were.
We were much younger, and we were
We had a lot of
for a while.
19 and 20-year-olds, and we just poured into them. I wish we had something like Service Titan, because in our industry, it's the opposite of this. So we had to have one CRM software package specifically for water damage.
Yeah.
But then there were none of those that also had carpet cleaning. But those two industries go together, just like a lot of companies do HVAC and plumbing, And so here, Larry and I are trying to sit with these two databases for two different things that we offer. So it's almost like trying to run two companies under one roof. It was challenging, where if we had something that could drive both of those, where all the data was in one place.
Challenging. He was telling me to run all the reports. So I don't know how challenging it was for him.
You never ran a report in your life. What are you talking about?
Yeah, sure.
We had a whole office staff. You were out delivering pineapples. Yeah, but the thing is that you need good data to be able to grow a company that's like that.
Data is so helpful. Yeah, it was so valuable.
I had my wife called some carpet cleaners to our house the other day, and we just moved to this new area here in Texas, and they showed up, and they were very professional and everything, and I looked down, and there, lo and behold, they had just got Service Titan. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah. I was like, wow, I didn't even really know we were doing that side of the industry yet, but they were doing it, and they have a very large operation across Texas, and they did a good job with it.
Nice. Did you get your technician bio, Chris?
I did.
Did you learn about your tech? Oh, nice. Nice.
So look, we don't know what we don't know. We've asked the questions that we understand. What are we missing? What features should everybody know about that I'm not asking about?
Oh my goodness. I mean, like it's such a big piece of software. There is one piece of advice I would love to extend to anyone. And we kind of talked about this a bit before, but I mean, the way I see it, and Chris, please keep me honest, is that Service Titan really is like this giant system that some of the biggest, most successful companies use, and they use it really, really well. Um, you need to invest in someone at your company who can implement Service Titan. That is like the main thing that I hear from customers who get up and running really quickly, and those who may struggle at first. I've worked at Service Titan for 4 years, and Eric, if you told me, Jackie, name all the features Service Titan has right now, I'll give you $1 million, I would miss out on $1 million. And I've worked here for 4 years.
Right.
Really, it is so important to have someone on your team who is going through that onboarding experience, who is checking off all of those boxes, who's working with Titan Advisor to make sure that you're leveraging the most out of the software, you're getting your biggest return on investment, right? So that is like my little thing that I want to say. My second thing in terms of features, which we kind of touched on before, and I kind of like alluded here with what Chris just said, is I love the customer communication features. I'm your standard millennial who like hates talking on the phone and like gets in a panic attack anytime a stranger knocks on her door. And my favorite thing about Service Titan is you get these automated text messages when your tech is on the way. You can set up GPS tracking so the customer knows the technician is on the way. Your technician can be empowered with like a rich job history and customer history where they can get the gate code and know if there's a dog and stuff like that. And there's just really cool ways to interact and make a connection with your customer. All of my experience, again, as a millennial with blue collar workers in general has been kind of scary. Especially like I'm a single woman who lives alone, right? So if I have a plumber coming to my house, if I have an HVAC guy coming to my house, like I live alone, and usually they're kind of like these gruffy guys. And I can say this because my dad's one of those guys. My dad is a blue collar worker, surrounded by them, still scary. But you kind of get these technician bios where you can just see like, oh, the guy who's coming to your house or the girl who's coming to your house, like they do salsa dancing on Thursdays, and they're a big fan of old movies, and they tap dance as well, and they have 3 kids and a dog. I don't know, and it just kind of creates that cohesion, that customer loyalty, and if you work your stuff right, like your customers are going to be excited that Joe's coming back to their house he comes over every 6 months to work on the HVAC system. So that was, again, some more word vomit for me, but I'll pause there.
No, but that's a good point because Larry and I know this from carpet cleaning, 94% of the buyers are female. And so Larry and I've lived this in a big way. Their biggest thing was who's coming to my house. I mean, that was the number one fear. And it's also the number one thing that keeps them from doing business with you. Yeah. They have to feel comfortable. So to be able to send that bio, we used to do it manually we wanted that manual bio to go where it said, this guy's married and has 2 kids and is a little league coach at night, because that's putting Mrs. Jones at more ease than, somebody who doesn't have all that going on. Yeah. Like it's a common denominator.
There's one other aspect. I don't know how we are on time, but I feel like I would be doing your listeners a disservice if I didn't mention this. But so my company was acquired by a private equity group that's now scaling, and they've got over 25 companies on their platform. But there's a reason why all of these major private equity groups, these super fast growing companies, all use Service Titan. And a lot of it is some of the features we've talked about, but the marketing and the analytics that come from that is like supercharged, right? So you can really take control of your marketing and not only get integrations in with Google, but see every call that comes in, where it came from, what campaign, what's performing, what's not, a dashboard. And then if you go to like one of our Marketing Pro products, you can automate a lot of these follow-up marketing things. So if I go clean carpets at your house, and now you have what's another service, an add-on service that you would use in the carpet cleaning industry?
Upholstery cleaning or hard surface.
Okay, so now you can set it up to automatically trigger anybody in a certain area that and remarket to them that extra service, have it all integrated. That's awesome. And then also the reputation management and the review side of it, all of that baked into the product. It's a big piece of it. And it really is the way to supercharge a business with that piece.
Yeah. So let's get into what industries you're in now, and then what industries are on the docket for the upcoming foreseeable future.
Sure. So right now we are, our core HVAC, refrigeration, electrical, plumbing, garage door, chimney. That's our core. You need 2 technicians and at least 1 office staff to get started there. Then some other industries that are coming along the way that we have some customers for already are irrigation, pool and spa, septic, carpet cleaning, duct cleaning, elevator and escalator. Wow, didn't know that. Landscaping, lawn care services, pest control, and tree services. So that's a lot of services. And then we have a couple in later tiers that I don't have permission to share with you. But the long story
I didn't
here.
hear water damage restoration.
I think anything that is a service-based business, there's no reason why I can't do this. Now there is some like with the restoration that require these other software integrations to work right.
Exactly.
That obviously may because we do have some restoration companies that are on Service Titan right now. I mean, I know.
Okay.
If it's a service-based business, I'd put my money that one of these days we will probably be in that realm.
Yeah, in terms of restoration, it's definitely on our list and it's pretty high up there, but it's just not at a place where we're ready to sell. And I can say, as someone who's now been with Service Titan, as we open up to different verticals, every single software, brain frizzed out for a second there.
Take your time.
Every time we open up to a new vertical, we want to make sure that the workflows will work for your vertical. When I first started at Service Titan, I would manage our social media profiles actually, and I would have a lot of folks coming in like, I run a janitorial service company. Why can't I be on Service Titan? It's the same thing. And I know that from the outside, it seems like a same thing. But going back to what Chris and I said at the beginning, like Service Titan as a company is so focused on the success of our customers. And before we can in good faith sell you our software, we need to make sure that it works for you. It's going to work for your workflows. And I honestly, like, one of the reasons why I still work for Service Titan, because I think I've really admired the way that the consideration that they put in that.
Cool. Awesome. So if, people are listening that, maybe they're using House Call Pro or some other, version, and they want to kind of dip their toe into this, what would they do? What would the process be for them to think about starting with Service Titan?
So if you want to think about us, if you want to just like tiptoe around, our website is an awesome resource. Chris had mentioned at the beginning that we have some really great tools now. Chris helped pen this contractor playbook that is this fantastic resource. I think it's like 120 pages, right, Chris?
Yeah, it keeps growing, so I kind of lost track of
it has to be. Yeah. It has to be like 120, 140 pages of literally every element that goes into running a service business and how Service Titan as a company, as a software can assist with that. There's also webinars. There's the podcast that I host, Toolbox for the Trades. These are all really great resources for you to like dip into and see like, all right, what's this company about? If you're ready to take action now, I highly recommend that you go to servicetitan.com and request a demo. And I can actually give you guys a custom link that your listeners can use to do that. Just know that when you request a demo, you will be hearing from one of our sales people. So know that.
And then if they decide to join, what is the process of, getting their stuff from one platform to the other and then getting trained?
Sure. So, Chris, you want to take that? I kind of know, but you might have more insight into what the actual minutia looks like.
Yeah, so definitely have a team of specialized people that's what they do, right? I mean, they take data and get data and put it here and there and do their magic, whatever it is they do. But I will say this, since I've been at Service Titan, the onboarding, it's even as a customer, it was tough, right? Anytime you go through any type of change, it's change. So it's going to take some effort. But one of the key things that they've done here, they just wanted to reimagine what onboarding looks like. How can we make this easier? How can we set people up right out of the box with what a lot of the best companies are already doing and let them hit the ground running? So they've changed the model, and they've just now rolled out the new pilot program of that. So I think onboarding from here on out is going to be so much easier than probably what someone even a year ago experienced. We've got templates where it's just, this is what the best forms, the best reports, the best alerts, all that stuff is just ready to go right out of the box instead of having to kind of just create your own, which is kind of maybe what happened to some contractors in the past.
Okay. And how long does it usually take them to get up and running? Like
That's
if they're doing the work.
Yeah. I really don't even have a great idea of what it takes. It's so dependent upon the company, the schedules and everything like that. But do you have any idea, Jackie, what it takes?
We're actually releasing, this is great. I know that this is going live in a couple weeks, right?
Yeah.
So if you go on our blog, you'll see a content series that features a customer of ours, the Bradham Brothers, that are in North Carolina. They're a 50 tech operation. And we actually had one of our writers join them for the entire onboarding process. So if you have specific answers, specific questions about what that looks like, that's a great resource to check out. But generally speaking, I would say onboarding takes a couple of weeks. You got to get your data in order. You got to get your team on board. You have to elect that dedicated person on your staff who's going to own implementation. I cannot stress that enough. That is the secret to success and happiness when it comes to Service Titan onboarding. And just respond to and work with your onboarder. Make it a priority at your company. Service Titan's an investment, and you need to be pretty present or delegate being present to someone on your team who you trust. But generally speaking, I would say probably a couple of weeks. But yeah, it's all dependent on the amount of work you put in, right? Going back to our data analogy, garbage in, garbage out. Think of the same thing for your onboarding. It's not flipping a switch, but we can switch you over from any platform you're on. If you're still on pen and paper, we can get you on too. We straight up we're just so thrilled whenever someone else joins Service Titan. So
That's awesome. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Larry, final words.
You guys have like a ticker in your building somewhere where you get somebody new that signs up that it just goes up and click, 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 click.
Well, we haven't been in the office since been in the office since like a year and a half now. I don't know. I think
I've
the
never
sales
seen Office ever. I've worked here a little over a year now and haven't even seen the Office. So there may be a big ticker in there. Who knows?
Hopefully it's going to start ending soon. We'll get back to the real world.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. But that would be a good addition.
I do know this. There's more so tickers when contractors achieve milestones. So even from the CEO, literally right before this meeting, I got this email that he sends out all the time to the whole company about when a contractor does something really, really awesome. They've hit a revenue number or whatever. So I personally see that side of it a lot more, where we just celebrate the success rather than the sheer volume of onboarding. Because if there was a ticker for that one, it would be going off a lot, because we have a whole lot of contractors using Service Titan.
That's a perfect way to look at your product as well. That's very good that you brought that up. That was cool.
Yeah.
Well, and I can say this. My wife works at a company where they coach CSRs, and it's nationwide, and 80% of her coaching clients or for the whole company are using Service Titan.
Wow.
80%.
Awesome.
I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I mean,
awesome.
with the coaching business like that, I mean, you can listen to all the calls, you can see all their booking rates, you can see their average time on call. So it's beautiful for what she does.
Yeah, Chris, exactly what you just said. That's what they do. She'll listen to calls. She'll give points of advice. They work on scripts. They work on closing, whatever it might be. And all the data is provided right then and there by Service Titan.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Well, it was a pleasure to have both of you with us, Jackie and Chris. And if you want to see these folks, listen to Toolbox for the Trades. You can hear Jackie talking there about the product that she has, which is wonderful, with Service Titan. And if you have any questions, I'm sure you can reach Chris. And we're going to have some contact information for you folks in our show notes. And it has been a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Larry. Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having
it.
us on.